Hi again, this is Jack Downs, again with the JOU 317 tutorial, massive tutorial on Dreamweaver and some advanced CSS concepts. We are now in the 5th video, and in the text, in the on-paper tutorial, we are on part 6. Just to see where we finished up in Dreamweaver, it should look like this, but you'll see it much more easily if instead you go to File, Preview in Browser, Chrome, and see we've got our navigation. Our H1 is kind of set up. We have a big piece of art. We have the filter on the image. We've got other styling, including links. And the last thing we did was style this footer area. And both these photos should be, should be responsive so that they will get smaller when the screen does, and no horizontal scroll bar, and everything lines up like that. So there we are. Let me make that wider again. And here we go into part 6. And part 6 explains that we are going to start doing things that are much more about responsive versions now. The single column version, as it describes, is almost complete. We have to style the links and the navigation menu and attach a JavaScript file to display and hide the menu on small screens. Styling links with pseudo-classes. There's a little discussion here of pseudo-classes. That's the whole Lord Voldemort fights Harry alone system of links, and they're described there. You should read through that to review it. And now we continue on page 47, where it says select a regular non-navigation link in the live view. Okay, here we are. And by the way, I am in the moment in just the live view, not the split screen. So for now, I'm just going to select this there. Good. Didn't actually go anywhere. That's good. We just selected it. And then over in the we are in the CSS designer. We want to make sure responsive is turned on. Show set is not. All is selected, and I have arranged this so we don't have to worry about @media at this time, and we have a lot more room here for selectors. And I took the DOM panel and I yanked it down also. So remember this one here, I moved that up and moved this up. So this is how I think is a nice way to arrange it at this stage. We'll be going into @media stuff pretty soon though. Okay, here's the point is we're trying to get a selector of just A. And we don't want to put it just anywhere. We don't want to just put it automatically at the very bottom of the list here. It makes sense to put it after the H2. I believe that's what they're trying to do. So we're going to select the H2 here. That just means the next rule we make will be after that. And we're going to click the plus button over here on the selectors. Now the point is we want to just get an A. So I could delete the others out, or I could use my up arrow to just get an A selector. I'm going to hit enter. We're just going to activate it, and here we go into some styling for links. In the text section of the properties, we're going to set the font weight to bold, and we're going to font weight bold. So I think it's a good idea to bold all links. It means that the color and other stuff that you put on them is more obvious, sets them off a little bit from the rest of the copy. Please consider that in your resume. Select the first icon for the text decoration property and set its value to none. Text decoration, here it is right here. We haven't used that before because we haven't been in links before, not much anyway, or not in CSS. So we're going to click on none. That's going to remove the underline. Create a new selector for a link. Okay, how are we going to do that? Well, I think it might be worthwhile to just do a plus here. Good. And now I'm going to go up to A. I'm going to put my cursor there, and I'm going to type : link. It'll bring up this stuff here if I want to just click it on there. Good. And remember or notice that there's no space on either side of that colon. It is one word. And I hit enter on that too. So now we're doing a link. So we're going to continue to do the link styling. And it is important that we arrange these in the right order too. Remember that? Okay, new selector for a link. When you type in the colon, so on and so forth, change the text color to a pinkish orange color. That would be plain old color, text color. And we got a hashtag. Here we go. F68979. We used that color before. But we used it in a border and some text in that box thing that was up higher. So I would say we don't want to use text colors much in headings, especially in H2s or any heading that's very close to text. In your resume, that would be like H3s probably. But if we use the same color in H1, there's not going to be confusion, and maybe even in H2. So we colored the, changed the text color, and then that's all we're going to do for those. Okay. Now we're going to make another link. Guess what? This one is going to be visited. Another selector and more styles for a link. And again, I'm going to go up to get the A. I'm going to put in the colon, and I'm going to click on visited this time. I'm going to hit the enter key, and now we're in the A visited, and we're going to take another color. This is going to be hashtag. You should be reading these right from the text. FF944C. Okay, and we're going to hit the we can hit the enter on that or not, doesn't really matter. And now we're going to make another one. Guess what this is going to be? This one actually is going to be a group of them. So we're going to do A colon hover, A colon focus, A colon active. Now you'll notice that I did these in slightly different order in the text of your tutorial, but it doesn't really matter because we're doing them all at once. But I think that putting active as the last in that group makes more logical sense than in the text portion of your tutorial. And hit the enter there, and then that just got a particular hex color too. Oops. Make sure it takes. So it's blue. We know that then that's the one that's selected that we're working on. And we are already in text. And we're going to go to the color, and it's going to be a hashtag. Put my caps on. 7F3300. Okay, if you say so. And it's a darker color. That's good. And also for this group, though, set the text decoration property to underline by selecting the second one, the dot text decoration. We want underline. We're going to add the underline back on the hover. That's nice. Not a bad idea. Gives you a bit more distinctive feedback when you hover over something. So I guess that's the end of that link styling, this portion here. Those are the non-navigation links. So I can save my work. I'm going to go File, Save All. I could look at my my CSS, and I would look at, let me bring this up. Here are all my A's, and they're all together, and they're all nicely made. Lord Voldemort. Actually, I should have probably put focus first, but just because of the saying, but hover and focus doesn't matter what order, and active is last. And there we go. I get this a little down here again, and why don't we run this? We don't actually run. We're going to preview in browser, Chrome, and we can notice that we really just care about these links now. I hover over them and see how they change, and want to see how the visited goes. I click on one, I'll go back again, and now get a visited look, which is slightly different than the others. I don't think the visited is working that great. It is slightly different. Yeah, it is. I can see the colors different. I think we should have a bit more work on that visited because it's different, but not that much different. Okay. All right, let's continue. Okay, so if necessary, you can change the order of the style rules by dragging and dropping them, yes. But the navigation links need to be styled differently. And here we go into something different and new for you guys. On page 48, create a trigger link for the navigation menu. On small resolution screens, such as mobile phones, navigation menu will normally be hidden. It will slide into view when the navigation menu is clicked or tapped. In this section, you'll give an ID to the unordered list and add a second-level heading with a link to the list. The menu link will be hidden by CSS on large resolution screens. The sliding motion of the navigation menu on smaller screens will be controlled by a combination of CSS and JavaScript. In live view, here we go. Number one, in live view, here we are in live view. Select, I'm going to just go to plain old live view now. Select the unordered list of navigation links and, by clicking one of the links. Okay, sure, let's do that. And it is selected now by clicking one of the links. Okay. The link will turn burnt orange, be underlined because it will be in its active state. Yes. Then press the up arrow, several keys. We should look at this. I should actually have been split view for this. And I should be in source code, not CSS. I'm going to press the up arrow. Now I'm up to UL. Several times until the element display indicates that the list is selected. So we want to get to the UL. We didn't actually have to go several times. It depends on which link you clicked on, I guess. But I want to make sure that we get to this UL here. So the UL is selected. I click on UL here. It's the same idea. I get the UL here. Select. Okay, good. I got to the UL in the element display tab, as shown in the little illustration, and you should see this on the screen. We're talking about is this guy up here went to UL. Okay. Pressing the up arrow while the focus is on live view moves the selection of the HTML hierarchy. If you go too far, Dreamweaver will select the nav element. No, we don't want the nav element yet, anyway. And then the H1 element, and so on. Press the down. We could go up and down with the arrows, or you could just use these and select the element like that once you get close. With the UL element selected, click the plus button on the element display and assign the ID nav links. Okay, good. Plus, and we're going to do an ID of nav links, so that's a hashtag. I type in hashtag, wow, lowercase. Okay. Into the field that appears. Press the tab or enter key to confirm the change. Okay, I confirm the change. Make sure the responsive CSS is selected. It is in the select a source drop-down menu, and then click away. So we've assigned an ID of nav links, which is just that name. That word, remember, doesn't do anything. It just makes sense to what we're doing. Nav links. With the unordered list still selected, choose Insert, Heading, H2, select Before. Okay, all right, let's do it like that. So we're in the Insert panel. Going to Heading. We could pull down on the heading, choose H2. Actually, H2 might be listed there, might not. Who knows? I mean, it'll be listed here in the pull down. So go to H2, and then this is going to be before in this position assist box, whatever they call it. Oops. Yeah, that was a problem. My H2, because I went into the middle of my nav links. I guess I needed to get my cursor up into that nav links ID. So I can do Control Z. I can put my cursor up there. So now I'm sure it is selected. The UL is selected. Good. I guess I went off that selection before. Let's try it again. Heading H2. This is why another reason it's good to keep the code view open. Heading H2, and this time it went before it. So it's inside the nav, but it's before the UL. And I see in the code a little funny thing happened, didn't it? For some reason, and there's another reason to watch the code, I lost my opening chevron on that UL. I see. Because of the position I was in, I actually had a duplicated one there. So do look over that area. This is what it should look like. Okay, good. So we did that. This whole process was getting an H2 just before that UL. Double click in the placeholder text of the heading to enter the edit mode. Okay. we're going to open this guy up, and so we get into the gold, we get the text there, and we're going to type the word menu. That's all. And still in edit mode, select the word menu. Yes, we're going to select the word menu. And we're going to create a link. Click on the link icon. Whoops, I got to go back into edit mode, right? Now I'm in the edit mode with the blue screen. Select it. Select just. Oh, let me try that again. Selected it. Okay, let me just get into the H2 here. Being a little weird. Actually, what was getting weird is me, because I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing. A little pause there. Must be doing this too early in the morning. So yes, yeah, we do want to click into it, as I did the first time. And we do want it selected. Select the text with the yellow or orange or gold outline. And we do want to then click on the link like that. So what are we going to link to? We're going to type in here hashtag navlinks. You remember going to hashtags, going to IDs? It's sort of like an internal linking thing. That's really what we're doing, and there's a little more to this. And by the way, when we get into this process here, sometimes the words that we use for IDs don't matter. The reason some of these are going to matter, and you really have to type them the way it's suggested in the directions, is that they're going to link to the JavaScript, and those words are already used there. And you don't want to enter the JavaScript if you don't have to. So we're going to do hashtag navlinks. Into the link illustration and click away to exit the edit mode. Good. This creates a link to the element with an ID of navlinks in the same page. In other words, the unordered list of navigation links. Make sure the H2 element is selected in live view. You might need to press the up arrow once more if the A element is selected instead. Then assign the H2 element the ID menu link using the plus button on the element display. We don't want the A, right? We want the H2. Here's the H2. Make sure we have the H2 selected. We do. We're going to hit the little plus mark on the element display again. So we're going to also give this an ID. We're going to assign H2 the element ID menu link, which is hashtag MENULINK. And so on. We can hit the enter to activate it, and we have our source is fine there. And now it suggests we examine the underlying HTML code to make sure we got this stuff right. So let's do that. So we are looking at, I'm going to go just to code here so we can see this whole thing better. And we're going to go from the H1, okay, that's outside of the thing called nav. There is nav, it should look like this. The whole nav area is what we're concerned about. There's an H2 with an ID of menu link, good, and then there's an ahref, the link itself has a hashtag navlinks, and then it's a there's the word menu, and then we close the A, then we close the H2. So the text inside the H2 has a link. Then we have a UL with an ID of navlinks, and then we've got the regular links, and then we close the UL and we close the nav, and then actually we also close the header. So that's what it should look like for you too. When we finish page 49, we're on to page 50. It explains that. Note that the value of the ID attributes in H2 and the UL elements does not begin with the hashtag. The value of the ID attributes in the H2 and the UL elements does not begin with hashtag. However, the value of the href attribute in the link does begin with hashtag. It's because the value means look for this ID. Yeah, so in other words, this has got a hashtag because it means go look for it, but of course there's no hashtag here because we're naming the IDs here. You may want to read through that on the top of 50, that number 10 a couple of times until it sinks in. It's a little bit hard to understand, but it does make sense if you look through. Why in HTML do when we use IDs, when we name them, but we want to use an ID, which is rare, but we do sometimes in HTML, then we actually have to have an href going to the hashtag. The reason, and then it's explained more about the hashtag and the element display or DOM panels to distinguish it from a class. Yes, IDs are different classes. In CSS, IDs are hashtags and classes begin with dots. You should already know that. Dreamweaver does use the same convention. That's good because it should. That's HTML and CSS. On to number 11. When you create a new ID or class using the element display, the associated selector is always created at the bottom of the selector's panel or pane. To keep the styles in logical order, select the ID, hashtag menu link in the selectors pane and drag it into a position after the other link styles. Release the mouse button when the black horizontal bar is just below the A hover and so on. Okay, so this is what they're saying. Go to the CSS designer. We can change this to split view now if we want. It won't matter. CSS designer. And it's noting that thing we just made. I'm going to open up the CSS designer a little more. Come on. Oh, maybe that's as far as it goes. Okay, never mind. That thing we just made, hashtag menu link, it's fine. It was made fine, that selector, but it's in not a very good order. It'd be nice if it was right up here. So we can just move these, though. If we don't make them in the right place, we want to reorganize them, just drag it up to there. Good. And I bet you they're going to want us to do the same thing with the other one, the nav links one. Yes, they do, by the way. Just stick it up there, just to get things ordered the way they makes the most sense, I guess is the idea. Because these do relate to links, and those are links too, I guess. Oh, why not? Sure. So that's another explanation of that. Move the nav links one. We just did that, number 12. Okay, I'm going to have to take a pause to go to class, but when I come back, I'm going to continue this with the styling of the trigger link, which is some very interesting new stuff for you. Okay, so we are on page 51. Style the trigger link. There's a little explanation there, a paragraph about that this trigger link is nested inside the H2. In fact, we can see it here. This ahref around the menu. But the concept is, in fact, I can put my cursor in that here if we want, which might help us. The concept is that we are going to have to do some styling to that text so it doesn't look like a regular H2. So we're going to make a new selector. That means in our CSS designer. We'd like this. We're going to click on first again this links area because we want it to appear just below there. Any place in here would be fine, but we might as well click in here. And go ahead and add a plus. This is in number 1. So the only reason we've done this is because it's gives us some stuff to start with. Instead, we could have just typed hashtag menu link, but I can just go in here and delete. I can use my arrow, stuff like that. But I'm just going to go in here to make a menu link choice. I'm noticing right now we already had a menu link. This seems to be a little duplication on the part of the instructions. So we could actually have used the earlier one. It doesn't really matter. I can delete this one. But it doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it there. So we got a menu link. What do we want to do with the menu link? Of course, we can also deal with this in the CSS directly. Our goal is to remove all the margins from the element. There are 2 ways to do this. Click Set Shorthand. That's the easiest way. So we're going to go to Margins. We want to make sure we're in the Layout area. And we can set the shorthand, and we just put a 0 in there. It does describe the other way. We could do that. Enter, and then we have 0. Oops, and something has happened over here. I guess it's actually edited the word because I had my cursor in here. When I hit enter, it actually took that selection away. I'm going to have to add that E back in here. Okay, so we've selected the menu, and I can make sure on menu link. You can see menu link here, and I'm going to show this, make sure that happened correctly. Show set, margin is 0. Good, we got that. All right, click the link icon in the middle of the visual tool and set one side. So in the middle of I'm going to remove the show set now. The link tool sorry, the link, sorry, that was the other choice. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little bit having a little trouble reading my instructions. We did the one choice where we just put a 0 in here in the margin. Good. We could have just clicked in here and then clicked on the link, put a 0 and then clicked on the link, which means essentially apply to all the sides. Same thing. Those are the two choices. Now we're down to number 3. I'll also set the following properties and values. Text align center. Text align center. Good. Background color. So background color hashtag 1E, 1E, 1E. Enter to do that. Good. The text is now centered against a dark background that extends the full width of the wrapper. Yes, it does. Headings are treated as block level elements to fill all the available horizontal space. Yes, it is. That's correct. In live view, make sure that the A element of the trigger link is selected. In the live view, I'll make sure that the A element is selected. Clicking it like that, the A element is selected. Notice that the element display border surrounds the element display border surrounds only the text as it does here. In other words, just around the word menu is where that A is there. And that's what we want. Create a descendant selector for hashtag menu link A, a descendant selector. So we're going to make another one here. And I'm going to use my arrow to up. Or you could have just typed in hashtag menu link A right over here. Then in the text section, so I'm going to hit enter. So for this hashtag menu link A, I'm going to go into the text of the properties section of the properties pane, set the following attributes and values. So color is going to be white. Whoa, lowercase. Might as well just use the word. Font weight is 200. A little bit lighter. And text decoration none. Okay. Text decoration none. Okay, good. And text transform uppercase. Okay, that's down here. Text transform uppercase. All caps. A little lighter, no underline, so on. That's good. Now it says click the layout icon again. Good. To return to the layout section and set the following properties and values. Display block. Display block. Act like a block. There, all of a sudden, it's starting to act like the heading again. It's taking up that entire space. Padding top. Not margins, but padding. And we'll go right into the top area here of 0.1 EM. I could have chosen the units first, or not, doesn't matter. Padding bottom of the same thing. Padding bottom of 0.1 EM. Good. I enter there. As soon as you set the display properties to block, the element display for the A spans the full width of the heading, so on. The heading is now clickable across its entire length. That's one of the benefits is that, as you see, my cursor goes over this, now the whole area is a clickable link, not just the word. And we're gonna, this is a good place to save. Save all related files. Now we're in the styling the navigation links on page 52. Navigation links are in an unordered list. Yes, we know that. To style them, you need to remove the bullet points, default margin, in the default margin, the padding, the browser's supply lists. You must make them clickable across their entire width. That's going to make them into blocks, using the same techniques as for the trigger links. So, number 1, create a selector named navlinks following the menu link in the menu link A. So we're going to make one right here. We got this selected, so that's fine. We're going to make one called navlinks. I could click on one of these if I want, and then that might get me started. And I click on there, and I do have a navlinks. We already had a navlinks, I believe. Whoops, wrong one. I'm going to delete these other guys out. This is just plain old navlinks. We already had one. I've duplicated it now. Don't worry about it. We can fix that in the CSS directly if we want. So I got a navlinks. I hit my enter again. It is now selected. set the following properties and values for the layout section of the properties pane. Sure, yeah, with 100%. Good. Layout with percent 100. Good. Margin 0, padding 0, all sides. Margin, we might as well do this short. I think it's most efficient to just do this shorthand property and padding, and then just put a 0 in there at the shorthand property. Good. So margins, padding. Click the text icon and center. Center. Good. And scroll down to the end of the text section. Remove the bullet points by setting the list style type property to none. Is that list style type to none? Okay. Bullets are now removed. And then click to the background icon and click the color well for background color to open the color picker. It defaults to black, which is what you want, but instead of solid black, let's make it a semi-transparent. Ooh, okay, good. So we're on the background color. We're going to go into the picker itself. We want it to be semi-transparent, so we're going to select this RGBA code. Okay, RGBA. Drag the alpha slider, it's the third one on the right, this guy over here, this one, down about a third of the way. Something in that range here. So we are changing the A portion now, which is now at 67. And it says to get about 65, so that's close enough. So the RGBA format consists of comma separated values, you know that. Red, green, blue, and then its opacity, right, from 0 to 1. We click away from the color picker to choose it. It's actually 6.7, which I believe means 6.7. And we're going to click. We can click away from the color picker to choose it. So we got this gray, semi-transparent background there, right? Older browsers don't understand RGBA color format. That is still the truth, I guess, although they've got to be pretty old now for that not to happen. So it's essential to set an alternative for the background color. That makes sense. Sure, why not? To do so, you need to edit the style sheet manually, yes, in code view. So let's go ahead to code, and we're going to go to responsive CSS. Here we are. Right-click the nav. Oh, and actually, we can do this even more directly. It says right-click the nav link selector. Let's find it here, which is down just below this stuff. Nav link selector, right there, right? And if we right-click on it, we could say go to code, and it will go to that part of the style sheet for us, even. Okay, right? And actually, it would have opened split view for us. I actually just went to the code view. Same thing, but it would have forced it open anyway, and it would have given us that style rule, which is a neat thing to know. Let me back up and we'll try that more directly. Let's imagine that I'm in source code in the split view, or even just a live view. And I went to nav links and hit a right click and said go to code, and there it is. It took me there too. Good. Insert a new line above the background color definition and add the following code. So we have a background color here already with RGBA. We're going to go just above it, and we're going to add a different background color, a different one. We're going to go to background color, right? And then we're going to add a space just because I want to, and then we're going to do a hashtag 0000, which is black essentially. 000000. Why not? And then a semicolon. Sure. So we added another line. And the idea is that first, if the first one will work, it'll be plain black. But then if the browser doesn't, well, actually, no, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be plain black. If the browser doesn't, and that'll be fine, and it will work. Then if the browser understands the RGBA color, that'll change to that too. So it's kind of same sort of ideas as a font stack, sort of. Take the one, and then if you can understand the other, take the second one. Which is typically done, actually we haven't done much of this, but in lots of modern stuff, if it's a little new, a little different, you give one option, and then that's the old style, and then you move on and you give a better, newer, more modern style, that might not be understood, or you probably will be, but might not be. At least some browsers would just stop at the old style, and better, newer browsers would pick up the new version, the RGBA in this case. Now we're going to choose a split view again. Well, we are in split view. We could go back to the live button if we wish to see everything like that. Okay, but so of course for us, this browser, or fake browser really, and if we ran this, we would see that it works fine. The RGBA. Create descendant selectors for navlinks A. So we're going to make a navlinks A now. So we're going to make a new one under navlinks. And of course we could do this just by clicking on the plus. Let's just go ahead and click on the plus. Navlinks A. I'm just going to go into it and delete out the LI, which I get. So I want to make, this is for all the A's that have a ID of navlinks. And set the following properties in the layout section. Here we go, layout. And we're going to go to display block. And padding top is 10 px. Okay, good. And padding bottom is going to be 10 px. All right. Click in there, click in, move my cursor over there, put a 1 in to make the 0 10, and I hit enter if I wish to activate it, but I'm going to continue along anyway. We're going to go to the text area and make the text color white. Text color white. Font weight 400. A little bit lighter. All links have been bolded, remember. Now we're going to go make it a little lighter just for these in particular, right? And the text decoration, none. Text decoration, none. Okay, we don't want any underlines. And then the text transform uppercase. Sure. Text transform uppercase is right there. New navigation menu now looks like this, as this one does. That looks good. Let's save everything. So your page 54, bottom of it, number 13, should be similar to what you're seeing on the screen, which is what I'm showing too. All the navigation links are still an unordered list. The links have been completely transformed in the way they link, the way they look. Now we're going to move on to the show hide the navigation menu. I'm going to pause now and come back to this a little later. Okay, here we go on page 55, show and hide navigation menu. Definitely getting into some new things now. Before I begin this, let me just say that I do think there is a little duplication in this exercise on paper, where we created, if you want to look over here in the selectors, we created something called menu link, but we already had something called menu link. We created nav link, we already had a nav link. So is that going to be a problem? It might confuse us a little bit. It's unnecessary, if nothing else, right? So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the, if you're on source code right now, we go to responsive, go to the CSS document up here, in other words. Let's go to the code view, and I can see I have this thing called menu link, then menu link A, then I have nav links, and then nav links A. I also have plain old empty ones here. I'm just going to delete those, because they're not doing anything, right? And I got some blank lines in between them too. Get rid of that too. And this would be a good time to do a file, save, all related files, why not? Go back to source code, go back to split view. Okay, here we go. On page 55 again, it talks about there's going to be a trigger link tapped. It's going to activate some JavaScript. We're going to attach the JavaScript to the page later. Good. All right. Navigation's position, both when hidden and displayed, is controlled by CSS absolute positioning. Okay, that's something you should be familiar with a little bit. Highlight the hashtag navlink selector in the selectors pane of the CSS Designer. CSS Designer, make sure you have responsive clicked on. It's all that's correct. We're not going to deal with add media quite yet, but soon. We're going to scroll down. We want the hashtag navlinks. There it is, hashtag navlinks. I select it. Good. It's because that's what we want. That's what we're going to add the absolute positioning to. In fact, we are going to go to set the position property to absolute. That is in the layout section. Layout is where I happen to be. It's gone below padding, I think it says. Position is right here, and we're clicking here and choose absolute. And you'll see that what happened is, well, something happened. The image of the Golden Gate Bridge jumps up behind the navigation links, as shown below. Yes, it did. Yeah. And this happens because absolute position elements are removed from the normal document flow, and they float on a separate layer in front of the other elements. That's good to know. In fact, layering is something we're going to have to deal with. In the DOM panel, add a class to the unordered list by double-clicking navlinks to open the field for editing. Here we are in navlinks. We're going to double-click on that. And we're going to edit it essentially. We're going to add a class. So it's going to be navlinks, and it's going to be space dot period, in other words, displayed. So we're adding a class to the navlinks ID, element with navlinks ID, calling it navlinks.displayed in the DOM panel. Oops, sorry, in the DOM panel. That's not where I want to do that. Wrong, 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 wrong. In the DOM panel, we're going to find the navlinks. There it is, navlinks. We double click on it, and that's where we're going to add the class. Sorry, my mistake. Dot displayed. Good. And then we have to click away to confirm the edit. Good. So now that UL has both a hashtag navlinks and a class of dot displayed. And that is shown on page 56. That little bit of typing we should have done. I should have looked at that little screenshot first. Although you could also use the element display to assign the class to the unordered list. This has the advantage of not automatically creating a selector in the selectors pane. Good. Number 5 on page 56. With navlinks highlighted in the selection pane, selector pane. So here we are again with navlinks highlighted. There it is. I did navlinks. Click on the plus button to create a new selector. Enter navlinks.displayed in the editable field. Here we go. So a new selector plus, it's going to go right after that one. It's going to be called navlinks. And I don't have that here because of where I happen to be clicked in the live view, but it's no big deal. We can always just type in here anyway. Hashtag navlinks dot, and displayed shows up as as a choice, so I can just click on it. Navlinks dot displayed is a selector. So the thing with the ID of navlinks and a class of displayed. Make sure there's no space between those two things. This is not a descendant selector. Navlinks.displayed selects an element that has the ID of navlinks and the class of displayed. In the layout section of the properties pane, with hashtag navlinks.display active, use the visual tool. So I should hit the enter key to activate that. Use the visual tool below the position property to set top to 135 pixels. So position, here's the position stuff. We had margin, then padding, and now it's position. So we are at position. We're going to set the top to 135 pixels. I can go to PX first and put in 135. 135. Enter if I wish. Technically speaking, this sets the absolute position of the top of the unordered list to 135 pixels from the top of the containing block. Yes. In this case, the page is the containing block, so it sets it 135 pixels from the top of the page. You'll learn more about absolute positioning in another section it explains in part 7. Now we also, in the layout section, we have to set the z-index. Here's something, z-index, and by the way, this might be on your final exam. What is z-index? It has to do with layering. When we give it something with a z-index of a number, and that means the layer will come to the front. It'll have a higher priority. It'll be as if put the layer on top. So we're in that same element here, navlinks.displayed. We're going to set z-index to, and here is z-index, to plain old 1. It's not a unit. It's just a thing. Whoops, let's get in there. To a value of 1. Good. And then, hit enter on that. We're going to set opacity, which is very next in line, to also to 1. I just picked it up. It could be some other number there. Remember, it's going to be 0 to 1 in there for opacity. To set the z-index properly, select the value from the drop-down menu and then type in the 1. This property sets the stacking order. That explains it. That's stacking order. Opacity property takes a value from 0 to 1. The menu will fade in and out at the same time as sliding in and out of view is the idea. We have to make some more selections. We have to create a selector called hashtag navlinks.start and set the display property to none. So we're making a bunch of these selectors. What they do and how they all work together will become a little more apparent as we move along. At this point, we're just having to kind of make them. I know this is a little bit of like just typing and worry about it later, but that's how it goes. Create a selector called hashtag navlinks.start. So I'm going to actually, at the moment, click in here to get us actually in there to the nav links. That thing maybe. That is not going to work. I want to get off into an area that was similar to it. Good enough. I'll go into the A. And I'm going to make a new selector. I probably have to type it all in anyway. It doesn't matter. And here I go. I'm going to move my DOM panel down out of the way. Here. And I might as well make it go below here. That's fine. Plus. And we want navlinks.start. So may as well just type it in. Hashtag navlinks.start. Good. And we're going to set the display property to none. It's going to make it go away. So I'm going to hit the enter. I'm going to go in here to the display. And I'm going to set it to none. And hit the enter key. Good. I didn't really have to. It was going to take it. And then I'm going to take a navlinks.collapse. Why not make another one? Sure. Hashtag collapsed. And set the following property and values. Top minus 12 EM and opacity of 0. So this is when it's collapsed. It's going to move it in a negative way. That's interesting. And then it's going to set an opacity of 0. Okay, so I can hit the enter. And again, we're going to go, this is the absolute positioning is where we are. So top, position of top is going to be minus 12 EM. Minus 12 EM. And the opacity is going to be 0. Which is down here. Opacity is now going to be 0. So it's going to be, have no opacity. That's accepted now. Setting the top property to a minus value will move it out of view above the top of the page. With opacity at 0, it's also invisible. To activate the menu, you need to attach a JavaScript file to the page. The file contains a function that looks for named IDs, so it needs to be attached after all the HTML has loaded. To insert the script in the right place, select the footer in the live view, and then select Insert HTML Script. We tend to put scripts like this in the footer if there are things that don't have to load at the very beginning, because the stuff in the layer further down the page is loaded later, unlike the font scripts, which we need at the top in the head. So we actually can put scripts in other places besides the head. And so we're going to go down Insert the script in the right place. Select the footer in live view and select insert script. Okay, live view, scrolling down. Here's the footer. I'm going to actually select not just the text area, but the footer itself by clicking in the black area above it. Insert menu, HTML is correct, and script is down here someplace. Hold on. Script, there it is. So it seems like something else should have happened, but it wants to know where. We want to make it, we're going to select it from the property assistant dialog, the which is going to then it's going to say, it's going to ask us for the name of the thing. We're going to select after, and it's going to finally bring up, it's going a little slow, it's going to finally bring up the, if you want to navigate to find the script. If all your style and so on is correct, it's, so here we go. After, navigate to the JS folder in this, and then select the menu.js and click OK. Here's the JS, menu.js, OK. If all your style definitions in HTML are correct, navigation menu should disappear from live view. And it has. Where did it go? It disappeared. I'm going to do a save all right now. Save all related files, by the way. This is because the function of the JavaScript file changes the class on the navigation menu to start, setting the display property to none. Then a fraction of a second later, it changes the class to collapsed. So the menu is ready to be displayed when the trigger link is clicked. Click the menu above the Golden Gate Bridge, and the navigation menu is displayed. It's displayed. Click it again, it goes away. Isn't that neat? Now, don't worry that when we run this and look at it, as we will in a minute, that it's not aligned quite right. Remember, this is the menu that's really made for small screens. This is the menu that's made for mobile. You can click the menu and it'll come out and then go back in again. We have a bit more to do, though. We're going to make that transition smoother. And now we're going to see yet another new CSS, quite modern CSS idea, the idea of CSS transitions. Right-click the hashtag navlinks in the selectors pane in the CSS Designer and select Go to Code. Sure, why not? CSS Designer. This is the hashtag navlinks. There it is. I'm going to right-click it, Go to Code. I've gone to the code. I'm going to actually move that up now. Actually, maybe I'll just go to Code View. Here I am. I am in the navlinks. See, there's navlinks. I'm in the bottom as if I'm going to write a new rule. Add the following two lines of code just before the closing brace of the rule. And Code Hints is going to help us. It says, I'm going to put a blank line in there, so I'm typing right here. And here I go, -webkit, -webkit, hyphen transition. I'll double click on that. I added the colon. It's going to be all ease out, all ease. I'm trying to use the tooltips just because they want me to. Oh, it's supposed to have been ease out. Good enough. All ease out 0.5 S. Okay, and we have to do the other version of this for everybody else, which is transition. And again, it's the same thing. I could just copy and paste that. And the fact there is or isn't a space there does not bother me really. Okay, this instructs the browser to transition all properties on the element and its descendants over half a second. So this is going to make it just slightly smoother. It slows the transition a little bit towards the end. And it says the edited style should look like, on page 58, there it is. Okay, let's go ahead and Let's save this. Well, test the navigation again. This time it should slide in and out more slowly, right? This does mention here this problem, and let's go ahead and take a look at it. So I'm going to go to split view again. I'm going to save all related files. I'm going to run this. Preview in browser, Chrome, here it is. I have a really wide screen set up. There's my menu sitting there. Great. When I click on it, what happens? On a wider screen, this is what's going to happen. And don't worry about it. This is not an error at this time. That's what that note is in there, number 20. You'll notice the drop-down menu extends off the right side of the page. This is okay at this point. Don't worry about it. Remember, this menu is not made for this wider screen. This is the mobile one. We'll have it set up so that something else happens on the wider screen. And this number 21, we're going to continue there, but I just wanted you to see that it does work. And it's not quite as abrupt as it had been. And it's still pretty abrupt, but it's not quite as abrupt as it had been. Okay, we are back to Dreamweaver on page 58, nearly the end of this section. With the navigation menu displayed, I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm going to open it up with it displayed. Okay, it is. Click the home link to select it in live view. Okay, here's the home link. Click. Good. And type .this page in the editable field to apply a class to the link in the element display. Right. So this is the A itself. This is going to be a class of .this page, and then we will hit Tab or Enter to confirm it, but then we will press Escape when the pop-up menu asks you to select the source for the style. So we're going to hit Enter, and then I'm going to hit Escape, I guess, which makes that thing go away. We could have clicked off. Same idea. You don't want to create a selector because this style will be part of a much longer selector. Ooh, a much longer selector. Select hashtag navlinks in the selectors pane of the CSS Designer. Here we are on it right now. Actually, hashtag navlinks A. There it is. Hashtag navlinks A. Good. In the selectors pane of CSS Designer, and click the plus button to create a new selector. Enter the following group selector in the editable field. Here we go. New selector, group selector. It's a whole big list of stuff here. We're just going to have to type this in. It may offer you some suggestions as you go, but it might be easier just to go ahead and type hashtag navlinks space A : hover comma. So that is a descendant selector, and now a space after the comma. You don't have to, but it makes sense. Hashtag navlinks. Nav. Space A : active, comma. Okay, what we're doing here, hashtag navlinks space A : remember the A colons are one word. This one is A : focus. And guess what? Hashtag navlinks space A, this time it's dot this page. Remember we just made the dot this page? Gee, that's a nice long one. And we might as well hit Enter. This styles the navigation links in the hover, active, and focus pseudoclasses, as well as the class with this page. In the text section of the properties pane, didn't really take it, did it? Another Enter. In the text section of the properties pane, set the color property to hashtag. It's going to be a hex code. I'll put my cap locks on. F689. '79. Good. The home link turns a pinkish color. Yes, as do some of the other navigation. Sorry about that, my phone went off. So it says the text link, the pinkish orange, as do some of the other navigation links when you hover over them. When I hover over them, yes, they do. How about that? Huh? Yes. This is what we call the "You Are Here" effect. Yes, we talked about that in class. The idea that home is going to have that permanent yellow, the others will not. Save your work, save all related files. Ominously, there is a "what might go wrong" section here. Frankly, if you get to this point and you're having problems, it could be a lot of things. But rather than tearing things apart and going crazy, I would say stop, find Cody or find me after class sometime, or if it's a working class, inside a class, and have us look over the code. We have the completed code for this section, and it'd be nice to get it right at this point rather than plowing ahead. So I would say that's probably a good idea. Remember, things do have to be pretty perfect to make them work. And the script uses what they call IFI, immediately invoked function expressions. And it means it has to have the exact named IDs and classes and stuff. So if you misspelled something slightly, things are not going to work. It's also case sensitive, so menu link has to be spelled out. Everything has to be in lowercase and so on, just as done in the demonstration here. And there's lots of other possibilities for mistakes. You should read through those possibilities. And a special note there. By the way, when we do compare your code and look at what we have and so on, or if you want to look through things carefully yourself, there's nothing wrong with closing Dreamweaver and opening up this code in Notepad++. Won't hurt it a bit, and looking things over and trying to figure out what was wrong if you maybe have something's out of place or something. That is the end of part 6. We're going to stop there. I know this is a long one. Thanks for sticking with it. There's only one part left, part 7.